public safety too. I think we decided for the general fund.
Yeah, I think.
I thought there were just going to be 4 of us.
No, she's here.
I didn't want to run in too fast. I didn't want to mess up.
You should have had one of those little protectors. You know, like the ladies used to wear back in the old days, those
yeah.
plastic ones, and they tie them in a little bow.
When they had curlers.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Are we auditioning? Is this really?
Did the rain lighten up?
What's that?
Is it still
Did the
pouring?
rain lighten up?
It was not horrifically bad, but it was pouring when I left my office. So it's not so bad.
It was pouring.
Definitely still pouring. Yeah, it was raining hard. It was actually weird.
I was wondering what you were doing with that.
I wasn't sure.
One of those types of storms. They were saying.
I was not shaking it.
I think this is that system.
I thought it was karaoke night. What?
That's why you didn't get a separate mic, Herman. I left it back in the closet. You only get this one. Yes. I am filing. In my defense, Herman, I was way down the hall from her. So it echoes.
All right, everybody, we're going to get started here in just a minute. There'll be 2 calls to the public. One will be at the beginning of the meeting. That's for agenda items. The second call to the public is anything else. There is a conduct policy. Many of you read it last week. Please try to follow it the best that you can. And we'll get started here shortly. Time now is 7 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order. Please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Sure. Zach Tucker,
Here.
Kurt Schultz,
Here.
Jennifer Eden,
Here.
Mike Cunningham,
Here.
David Walker is absent, Herman Ferguson,
Here.
Pam Mockler, here.
As a request by the Planning Commission, we're going to pull off number 9, the Historic Town, or the Historical Society. We're going to pull off the townhouse electrical bids and bring them on at a future meeting. I guess they have somebody else that's going to put a bid in that's probably going to be advantageous, so we're going to hold off on that.
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next, approval of the consent agenda or changes. The treasurer's report dated February 29th, 2024. Clerk's warrants and bills, March 21st, 2024. And that's it, just those 2 items.
So moved. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. Next, communications, having none, we'll move on to public remarks. Those that would like to make a public remark, please come up, address the board, speak into the microphone so everybody can hear. Yes.
Before you start my time, can you pull up Woody's for a minute? I want the overhead view so I can explain, since we're not having a public hearing, I'm very upset that we don't have a public hearing on that. We didn't have a public hearing on it. So in order for me to make my point to the board, I need the picture up. Can I have the picture brought up?
Which picture?
The overhead view of the Woody's? It's the, would be the gas pumps, and over here so I can explain what I'm talking about. The gas pumps, the storage area. I'm not against what they're doing, I just think there's some better ways, there should be some ways, some suggestions put in. That's not, doesn't have the gas pumps. But the gas pumps are over here. Start my time, that'd be fine. Gas pumps are over here, they're basically in front of the store, the store, the existing store. All right, and they're angled, so when people come in, they're swinging around, it's tight. I've been there many times, I do a lot of business there. They're moving the,
We don't have a picture.
I don't have a picture of that, Scott.
well, I saw it on the website. So anyways, right there you got it, okay, so. Gas pumps are pretty much right in front of the left, where we're moving. The store's going over here. You should move the damn, first of all, we should have a public hearing. I don't like this fast track crap. Gas pumps should go over here. I don't know what's going over there. I would assume Corrigan's might be. We've never told what's going in there, unless they're renting it out. They're renting out, there need to be the adequate parking spaces over there. The storage unit over there, on the side, I see Corrigan's got their trucks in there, I'm sure it's good use as a storage area. That's gotta be gone, as far as I'm concerned. It's crazy. Even Mateo, our planner, mentioned the parking. He brought it up. You guys, the board, planning commission passed it anyway. I just want it for safety reasons, but, I think, you know, storage and the records are over there. And it's a whole nother business. Corrigan doesn't own the property as far as I know. All I know is they bought out the record business from what I've heard. So I can only go by what I've heard. And Woody's is the one applying to do this, so I really look at the gas pumps situation, they need to be moved. Because I think what you're gonna have contractors coming in and out of there. They do all the time. I've been in there, it's been tight. In fact, I would even look at the idea, if you got rid of the storage area over there, maybe put another driveway in. All around the service drive, so when you do move the gas tanks over, you got a better flow of traffic over on the right side, so you'd open up that left side for whatever's going into the old store. I'm looking at this from a safety point of view, not to shut them down. For the future, I think, you know, guys, I think everything like this, especially a major change like this, should go in front of the people. We're not totally against everything. So, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Yes, Greg?
Yeah, Greg Carnes.
Greg, could you please come up to the front?
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, but could you please come to the front?
Greg Carnes. I sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals. I have for, since 1996, actually. In 97, we adopted this book known as the ordinance number 36. And for the last 28 years, the Planning Commission and the Township Board, we've been improving the language in this. We've been making it better, adding amendments to it, and I just want to lead into respectfully asking the board to consider extending the moratoriums on the solar farms, wind farms, battery storage, even the mining, for as long as we can, so that the Planning Commission and the board and the rest of us can draft the best language for our zoning 36. So, again, thank you for your consideration.
Anyone else?
Okay, my name's Jeanette. There's a few things on here. I'm just wondering why the the meeting minutes that are in the agenda weren't approved. They're in the agenda, but they weren't on the agenda. But sorry, they're in the packet. So I'm just gonna piggyback off of what he said. This is thank you for putting that on the agenda. It's something I've been asking about for a long time. If you would extend that solar moratorium, I believe that it should be extended until at least after the day that the new law is supposed to come into effect. That would protect our community. We all heard, those of us who were there, heard the lawyers say that there is no problem with doing that. She said, in light of this law and the confusion around it, nobody's going to say that you're doing something wrong by extending that the moratorium. And so I don't know why we're not listening to the lawyer. She even said she recommended that we also have the other ordinances, and that's even in the meeting minutes. They're in your packet tonight that you skipped over and you didn't approve. Also, let's see, what else? Every single item in my studying of them has something wrong with it on the agenda tonight, but, I'm picking them apart, I guess. I will speak about the historical townhouse electric bids. I see that it's not on the agenda anymore, but it says on there, which you took it off, it says, no documents at this time, bids will be included when received. I've been hearing that there's at least 2 or 3 bids already presented to you. Why weren't they included on the agenda? And of course, we will not get an answer tonight, but I really want to know why those bids aren't out for the rest of us to see. Thank you.
Anyone else? Being there's none, we'll move on. We don't have any unfinished business, so we're going to move on to new business. Item number 1 is the Tyrone Party Store Site Plan Review. Kurt, did you want to speak to this?
Yeah, pretty much the operation is going to change over there, and that's what this represents. They're eliminating the service and mechanic business there, and then going to open up the area that was previously used for that type of work and include that as a restaurant, tables, and food service area. Along with that, they're doing landscaping. They're shielding a lot of the trash and dumpster areas back there. And I think if you've taken a look at the plan, it's fairly self-explanatory. They've gone through and made all the changes that were requested. So our recommendation is that it be approved.
All right, thanks. Also to Pam, Jennifer, and I looked at the REU table, and it changed from service station with auto repair to service station with mini mart. Both of them require 1 REU per square foot, and then 0.5 REUs for 1,000 square foot of building space with the mini mart. We also looked at any other options that it would possibly fall under, and it's not a restaurant, though they are going to have food. So we even took into effect the kitchen with the counter area. It was 260 square foot, and the kitchen with the counter was 305 square foot. Even factoring in at the 1.5 for restaurants, Bill has 6 REUs on that property, and he's got plenty of REUs, so no future REU or additional REU purchases required for this project. So any other questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the site plan for Tyrone Party Store. Any further discussion?
Mike, I have one question.
Sure.
Billy had the towing business. Even though he doesn't own that, he can still lease that out. He'll still lease that out to Corrigan behind there where they're putting cars in the fenced-in area.
It's still, his site plan, current site plan did allow for that.
Okay.
And so he amended his site plan because he's changing the use. So it's still allowed under the
Okay.
site plan that he had. So it's been motioned and supported to approve the site plan for Tyrone Party Store. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. Next is item number 2. It's an REU bulk purchase and the Livingston County purchase offer for REUs. A couple meetings ago, we were having discussion regarding REU purchases. And go ahead. Do you have that slide there? There you go. So you guys asked me to kind of just say, hey, look, you know, this is what we're considering doing. We have 50 to 100 REUs, we'd give a $1,000 discount. 101 to 200 REUs, a $1,500 discount. 201 to 300 REUs, a $2,000 discount. 300 to 400 REUs, a $2,500 discount on each. And 400 to 500 REUs, a $3,000 discount on each. So is that, you know, where we currently want to stay with this, or comments? And if not, then I'll prepare a resolution for it for our next meeting.
While I agree that a discount could be given in a high bulk purchase, I don't believe we should have so many tiers. To me and the consumers, I think it's too confusing. I would say more like 100 and over, a $2,000 discount, and 200 or more, $3,000. To me, bulk is more than 50. But I'm not buying 50 REUs either. But I think a two-tier discount makes it easier across the board, and 10, 20 years down the line when we're no longer in position, then it won't be in question. But what do you guys think?
What's the most we've ever plugged in at one time?
Well, it,
Varies.
Yeah, I understand
What
it
was-
varies, but
well,
It's a lot
there was purchased, and then there was
Assigned.
assigned. The most I believe we ever assigned was 74, and that was off the White Lake property. The biggest purchase would have been Cider Mill Crossings.
right, that's what I figured.
That's 728,
Okay.
give or take a few.
So what we're saying is there's not that many requests for,
Two that we've had. And the other one would be Tyrone Woods for over 100.
and so in your scenario, there would be,
100 over, and then 200 over.
okay,
100 over being $2,000 discount, which would be $12,500,
right.
which I think is fair when they're buying that many.
And right now, the current price is set,
$14,500.
who sets the price?
Well, when the sewer system went in, they had a scale that went up. There was all kinds of deals down here. There was,
Yeah.
someone paid 25 for theirs, and some paid 3, some paid, and there was a scale that was put into place, and the REU rate went up $500 every year.
Okay.
And from what I can gather at that time, is that they were doing that to try and entice people to buy their REUs or pre-buy their REUs. Well, you know, Heartland still had theirs at 8.5, and ours are 14.5. So I called our bond attorney and I said, where did this come from? He goes, I think the township, you need to call, public funds and find out. So called them and they said, no, the board said that, you can do it. So, you know, there would have been a conundrum if we lowered them, so I just brought a resolution to the board to freeze them at 14.5, because that's, you know, ridiculous, I think. So, that's kind of where it's been,
So
and it's been that way for,
The board could increase them, the cost.
we could,
I don't think we can, nor do we have a reason to.
Right.
Once the bond's paid off
could,
and the
but
debt is
we
paid
won't.
off,
I don't see any reason.
there's no reason to do that.
Yeah, there's no plans to raise it. So, what do you guys want to do? You wanna go with the 50, you wanna go with the 100? Cause I'd like to get a,
Yeah, I like the idea of simplicity.
Yeah, the 200, or the 100.
so we're gonna, get rid of the 50, we're gonna start at 100 with a $2,000 discount, and then go up to 3,000?
Yes, and 200 or more is what I had proposed at 3,000. Discount for each.
What about for 300 to 400?
I think 200, you're already, anything over 200 is the 3,000, which would be selling them at 11.5.
So we want we want 1 to 200 at 2,000, 200 to 300 at 3,000, and then anything over that is 3,000 regardless? Okay.
That's what I proposed, but
Is anybody in objection to that? Okay. That is what I'll move forward and bring to the next board. Also, we have a Livingston County septage receiving station. Would like to buy some REUs. Heartland doesn't have them available. And currently, they'd like to buy 263 REUs. They gave us a cost of $2,500,
2 million.
or 2 million, yeah, 2 million, 2.5 million, 2.5 million. And that puts the cost at 9,000 and something, so
9,500.
I don't know if you guys are interested in entertaining that, but
And I don't think that would fit into the discount structure that we
Right.
just discussed, would it?
No.
No.
No. We would be selling 217 of them to them, or we could, at the 11,500, which is the same discount. I believe we should give them the same discount we give everybody else. Should we give them more because of their county? I don't think so.
I
That's my
agree.
opinion.
Yeah.
I don't want it to look like we're playing favoritism, whether it's the county or,
Right, I think
the
it's
guy
fair
down the
across
street.
board.
Whatever we decide to do as a discount should be across the board.
okay. So do you want to make a resolution to deny that? Because it is a offer to the board. Resolution or just a motion?
It does say it's not a formal offer. Honestly, I was a little puzzled by some of the language in the letter.
I think it's a suggested
Yeah,
rate of discussion. Really, we're willing to do 11,005 when we adopt that at our next meeting.
Jennifer, on that, what does that break down at 263 RU? Is that 2.5?
9506.
So that's-
So $9,506.
So we could counter offer and say, here's where we're at with the new structure that we have.
Right. Well, we wouldn't even have to counter,
Right.
We make the resolution to, allow discounts on bulk sales. That's really what it is, but unless, unless we're willing to sell anybody 200 REUs plus at 9,500, I really don't think we can offer that to one person.
All right.
As much as we'd like to help them.
So actually, you're right, it's not a formal offer, so we won't need anything. We'll just move on with the plan, and that's kind of where we're at.
Mike, they have
Frank and Brian are here tonight.
no one else to buy them from.
Well, yeah, because this is it's a part of an agreement settlement, and, what's on the paper is that they're going to purchase some REUs from Heartland Township. They're going to purchase some from Genesee County, and then the remainder are gonna come from us.
Okay. What do you recommend? I mean, we're at 2.5 million, but we'd drop them 2,000.
As much as I'd like to help out our friends at the county, I also have to, keep it fair with our
Right.
residents. I think what we decided tonight is a step forward, and it's going to have a big cost savings on, from 14.5, so.
Okay.
All right,
Mr. Chair, would you like me to,
sure.
so, thank you. Okay, fall down here.
Oh, don't do that, you've already done that enough.
Just a couple of comments, because I think Jennifer probably picked on out on something that we did earlier, which was at the REUs, we were looking to buy 267. It actually was cheaper for us to buy 300 to drop into that next bracket. So that makes sense. The other thing I would say is, everybody likes a deal, but we're in government too, and so, we're not really asking you to give us a special deal. If you, what really helps is setting up a bulk purchase schedule, and a lot of townships do that. And so the impact, if we could tie into, if we use the capacity for Tyrone, that has a pretty significant impact on all the residents on the system, including Heartland Township, but also likely will impact not only your residents on the system, but everybody in the township that requires their tank to be pumped. Because the alternative without that there is the truck, instead of driving a couple miles to the station, is now driving up to Flint and paying the fee up there and paying their driver the gasoline, to do that. So from our preliminary numbers, what you've proposed, I think will work. We've got to run it through our rate analysis consultant, but we think that's fair, and giving us a better deal probably doesn't help you out in the future when you're trying to negotiate with other people looking for capacity. So we appreciate everything you've done and all the collaboration you guys have done with us, throughout the history of this system. Really makes a big deal. And I will say, it doesn't seem to come out a lot in call to the public, but your group has been extremely strong advocates for its residents to us. And so that often means that sometimes what's said to us may not be the nicest, but not that it's mean, it's stern. And it's done because you feel so strongly about your residents, and that's something that has always stood out to us, and we don't take offense to it. We know who you're looking after, and we appreciate that, so thank you. But I wouldn't ask for a favor over and above what you guys have already proposed. I think that's probably doable for us.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Frank, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, just thank you for getting it on the agenda and everything else and discussing it tonight. So we look forward to it. We'll get everything written up and actually bring something more formal. Today was just to get that discussion going and see where the board is at and try to move stuff along. So for us. So thank you all very much.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, moving on to item number 3. It's the final 2023-2024 budget amendments. So every year, this is something that we do. No budget can have a zero balance or be a negative balance. Sometimes we have to transfer a little bit of money in to cover. So we have 2 coming from the general fund, 1 for assessing. The current budget was $400. We're going to amend that to $6,000. And the ordinance general fund legal fees, we're going to amend that from 15 to 17. We have trash and rubbish removal for Shannon Glen, the Irish Hill Road Improvement Debt Fund, and the Sewer O&M Fund. There's plenty of money in the budget for this, so we're just amending them to keep compliant with the law.
Mike, I have a question on the first one where it says printing and publishing, going from 400 to 600, is that because of the election year that we have? Is that what that's for?
No, this is for assessing.
It's for assessing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the difference on that from $400 to 6,000 for the assessing? What do they have to do on that?
Well, why?
Yeah, I mean, you've gone from 400
Print
to
costs went up. Did they switch printers this year?
I think they went to.
Yeah, and we were doing some of the stuff in-house, and then we sent it out. And then we had our land value maps, our property value maps and stuff printed from GIS.
Okay,
Those are a little expensive, so.
all right. So I make a motion to approve.
Okay, it's been,
Support.
there you go, motion and supported to approve the budget amendments for 2023, 2024. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed, that motion carries. Next, we finally got this one done. This one was kind of a fiasco because of just finding people to bid on the contract. It's the request to award the firewall contract. Phil, got this all spec'd out and put it out to bid. Correct me if I say anything wrong or you want to add anything. We put it out to bid and it kind of sat there and nobody bid on it for a while. So we just kept extending it until we finally got 2 bids and then no more bids came in. So one person seems to think that they're very expensive and probably really don't want the job, so they bid $195,480.
Holy snow.
The other one is $59,000, and that is in line with what it should cost. In fact, this company was the one that did the one, I believe was in Holly Township in Oakland County. That we actually got the plans from for this to put into our township that Chief Karendoff brought to us and asked if we could get it in. So I think this is going to be great because now we have, if we have any fires down in the southeast portion of our township, it's going to be on Alcoy and Den Hill. You know where that's at?
I think so.
So that well will be there. If we have a fire, they don't have to run all the way to Heartland to get a fire hydrant or all the way up to the city of Fenton. They can fill their trucks right there, so that's huge. That's good. So, as we, continue on, we're gonna look for another site, bring another one of those in because they're worth it, they'll pay for themselves, so.
This is just because I'm curious more than anything else. So the easement's already in place, all we need to do is approve this and then they can move forward, is that right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, the easement was a tree farm right there on Denton Hill.
Okay.
And it was owned by the Walkers, and they generously gave us the easement for no charge, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of times when you're trying to get easements, it costs you some money. And sometimes you have to go to court for them, but in this case, we were gifted and blessed to get that for no haggle, no nothing.
Mike, what's the time frame that they're gonna start on that and completion?
Any idea on that, Phil? We'll get the contract signed, get it over to them, and they'll get it on their books. There's no frost laws going on, so I guess as soon as they have an available slot, they can get started on it, so.
They do have to get a permit, so they're probably at a guess 3 months.
Okay.
Do they have to get the permit from Eagle, or do they get it from county?
County, health department.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the C.E. Lehman and Son proposal.
Support?
It's been motioned and supported to approve the C.E. Lehman and Son well drilling quote. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. Item number 5 is the resolution to extend the solar energy moratorium. That expires about a week from today, I believe. So we are still working on that. The reason why we do 6 months at a time is because there is case study and lawsuits where entities have filed lawsuits against municipalities saying that they're sandbagging by extending it over a year. So we don't face any legal challenges. We do them in 6 month increments. And we have to be continually working on it, otherwise we are vulnerable to lawsuits. Same thing when it comes with like wind and battery. We weren't quite working on those yet, so now that we're working on them, we can put a moratorium in place. And we looked at threats and what we did. Solar was obviously the highest threat to the community. Wind being the less. There was a study done in Tyrone Township just before I came supervisor, and wind is, because of our terrain, wind is, I wouldn't say would probably never come here, because the minute you say it, it does, but the threat of wind in Tyrone Township is very, very low, so. But we'll get to those after this one.
With this, Mike, is there any law? I mean, I heard Jeanette say there wasn't any law that does that. There's a couple of townships that extended it beyond the 12 months. Can we extend it to the end of it?
I've had our attorney advise not to do it more than 6 months. John Galuli, big municipal law attorney, says don't do them more than 6 months. Bill Fahey, another municipal attorney, MTA, Matt's conferences, they say, just don't, you can, but you put yourself in risk.
It's easy enough to look at it in 6 months intervals, make sure we're making progress and extend.
Sure. But we're still enacting them, and we're on top of them. I mark them on my calendar, I keep track of them. So I'll go mark 6 months on my calendar. About 3 weeks before it's due, it'll pop up, and I make sure it's on the agenda.
Okay.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to extend the solar energy moratorium. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
David Walker's absent, Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Pam Mochler, yes.
That resolution passes. Next, new business number 6, resolution for moratorium on wind projects.
So resolved.
Can you read the moratorium so people know what you're voting on?
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to approve the resolution for moratorium on wind projects. Any further discussion?
It's not the whole thing, though.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
David Walker's absent, Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Pam Mochler, yes.
Item number 7, resolution for moratorium on battery storage systems.
So resolved.
Support.
It's been resolved and supported to approve a resolution for moratorium on battery storage. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
On battery storage,
Yep.
or do we have a motion?
Yeah,
Yeah. Zach and Kurt.
second, Kurt.
Oh, I got it flip-flopped. Okay, sure. Kurt Schultz,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes.
David Walker's absent, Zach Tucker,
Yes.
Mike Cunningham,
Yes.
Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Pam Mochler, yes.
Item, that resolution passes. Moving on to item number 8, renewal of the commercial insurance policy for the Township Hall. This includes cyber premium for cyber protection. The amount is $25,946.75.
Mike, on that, did we get other bids on that with the commercial insurance?
No, what we do is we use an agency, and they have different people that they work with, and they provide us the best quote that they can. It's government insurance, so a lot of your commercial companies won't touch it because we get, with going with these specialized agencies, we get better rates.
Like an agency, like, for example, Heartland Insurance wouldn't. do
David
it.
Walker, we actually asked him about it, he goes, no, he goes, I can't, my.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about
because
that
this is
before.
government, you can't get it.
Okay,
So, I mean, it's just like, you're a broker for this or a broker for that, it's more complicated, I think David would be better off explaining it, but that's the crux of it, and we actually looked at doing
yeah, I
that.
remember we talked about it before, and he said that it was good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I make a motion to accept that?
Support.
It's been motioned and supported to approve the insurance premium. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion carries. That's it for new business. We have no miscellaneous business. Final call for public remarks. Please come up to the microphone.
Marcia Dix, Lake Shannon on Ornob. I just wanted to thank all of you for your dedication to this township. I've lived over here in this area for over 30 years, spoken to many of you periodically on issues I've had. You've been open, helpful, and always so friendly. And Mike, I remember when you saved this township from bankruptcy, when you paved roads without raising our taxes. Taxes have been lowered 5 times, brought $9 million in revenue to the township through real estate transactions. Those things are a big deal. You know, working with the public is not easy, and it's not for the faint of heart. I pray when the election time comes, our community will do their own research and consider the success of our township under the current leadership. And thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Evening, guys. I have a question on new business number 3. On that first one that you guys talked about, the current budget went from $400 to now it's $6,000. And I don't mind, I mean, I get it, I run a business. But there's nothing here to explain how we had a budget of $400 and it says we have a balance of $3,100. That's a surplus of $2,700. And then we want to increase it to $6,000. I mean, I get it, but you know, there's no explanation on this. Perfect example was the site plan that we just reviewed. I went through that. I can tell you the HVAC numbers, what kind of windows, door schedule. There's 60 or 50 pages. You know, and then that's a party store. Who cares? But when we ask numbers, there's nothing to support any of this. Nothing, no supporting documents. I emailed Jennifer, and I was told there's no more. I've done everything everybody's asked. I don't know why we're being so secretive. It's no deeper than that. Everybody's looking at me. I mean, you just voted on it. Why don't we have better explanations of this? Nothing? Thank you for your time, guys.
Yes.
Scott Dietrich, White Lake Road. I feel bad for the RUs that were sold to the people earlier. I don't know if they're gonna sue us for their loss. There's people that lost their land because we slapped too many RUs on their property. So I don't know if they have anything. All right, there's an issue of one of your employees, Lynn Daniels. I got more information from her than I get from you guys. She informed me that she's trying to tell me how much money the township gets from the county. I mean, she's on there arguing with Jeanette, and fighting with her on there, and she's happy to say she's on company time, on our dollar. I don't know, are you people happy with somebody working for you that's on the internet all day, on Facebook? She's getting paid. She's just here, yap, with Jeanette all day. I was picking it up. I tried talking to her, and I kept saying, you're on our dime. She said, I'm allowed to. I guess it just goes along with how this office is run. It's a shame. She said there's no rules. Don't tell me there's no rules against her being on social media when she's not at work. The lady, I looked into her, she looks like she's had a troubled past. Looks like she's had problems with a husband and a son. I feel bad for her. I don't want to pick on her. But she does work for us. Okay? I mean, I thought maybe she should get fired, but I think that looks like down the road she might have lost some jobs. I don't know. I can't tell. It looks like she has some pretty good ones. And she had tragedies in her life. I don't know. I don't want to kick her. She's down. But she doesn't belong on the internet during business hours. All right. The pot place over here, you guys, I talked to Kurt about it. I'm just blowing my mind that we're going to go right straight to a public hearing. There's a new owner, from what I understand. I don't know what's true. We've been kicking this can down for the master plan, can down the road for this master plan. We haven't protected those people over there. So it looks like they're going to get it shoved up their rear ends because our township keeps canceling meetings. We can't get nothing done. I'm sorry, but I can't be happy with it. I mean, I come up here, slam my phone. I've tried. I don't want to attack anybody. I've tried not to attack anybody. I've come up here to work. But you know what? It's frustrating. I've heard a little more discussion here than I ever did at any of these meetings. And I know you guys talk on the internet back and forth about these issues. We don't see that. So maybe we should get the minutes of all those meetings out there so we know what you guys are talking about.
Anyone else?
I had something to say, a little bit different from the subject we were on earlier with the REUs, but I think for us far more important. One thing that's been circulating around in our office is that video of your last meeting. And, you know, I took it as a point of pride as drain commissioner. We're on people's land. We have some pretty wild public hearings. And you can imagine why when we have to do work on people's property. However, I think you guys took the crown from me. And why this is so important is because what that does for people who are just here to serve their community, it makes them say, why am I going through this? And then they leave, and we get agenda-driven people in there. And ultimately, you know, they don't want to work with their neighbors, with the county, and it just costs all of their residents more money. I've been impressed with how many of your, you know, and then the comments in the back keep coming because I'm saying something nice. But there are so many people on this board in this community that are dedicated to working with, you know, United Way, the walkers, and they do it because of their view of community service. So I wanted to, you know, commend this board and say that it's important that you stay here. What we have seen from my department is a very strong advocacy by you folks on behalf of your residents. And when it comes to time to pose us some very difficult questions, and we've worked through some of those. I think, Mike, you were the one who spotted the overbilling on the sewer use years ago from the meter. We found a problem with the meter, and I think we, you know, we said, well, we fixed it, and your response was, well, you owe us some money. So I think we worked on that. I think it was a 6-figure payback over several years, and that's what's important. You've been fair. But I do want to say is I really hope that you will see more civility from the people you serve. That's hugely important, and I will tell you what, and my staff know it. If I saw you, if I saw,
We'd like to know who you are.
if I saw Frank,
Who is this talking? Yeah, your name and where you live. Yeah. Who is it?
Thanks, Brian.
Oh, Brian?
Thank you.
Okay, we know that much.
No, you're supposed to identify yourself with your address and your name.
And you're not supposed to campaign as an appointee.
Same rules for everybody?
I guess not.
Anybody else
Anyone
have-
else? Being
Yeah,
none,
no, I have comment.
I said anyone else?
Yes, and I'm saying me. Can I come up?
Then come on.
Yeah, no, you don't have to announce who you are anymore, so I'm not going to. Okay, first of all, I want to thank the board for not harassing the man in the front with a disability and defying the Americans with Disability Act. Thank you for finally stopping that, and I hope you don't do it again. Again, I didn't know I was going to ask you who spoke, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Sorry, I'm all lost here. Okay, so I'm going to expand on what Scott had to say. And I'm wondering if you guys have a code of conduct policy for your employees and for the board up here? Because I have deleted most of her comments, but she was on for probably 2.5 hours on Thursday, most of the day on Monday, harassing me and harassing people in the group. She said of many things. She accused me of spreading hate. She says I'm a bully, but she did say that she herself is a gift. She said that I am the cashier at the township, and this is all public, on a public page. I'm the cashier at the township, and I do have downtime throughout the year. The month of March is one of them. The only thing I have to do, cash receipt during this time, are residents coming in for passports and dog licenses. It's very slow in the office for me. I absolutely do get on social media all the time while I'm working, and I still do my job. No officials know that I post. This isn't about them. This page is so one-sided and full of very biased opinion. I'm a big girl. No one tells me what to do, not even my employee. So it seems like someone is a little butthurt over my opinion. She's representing all of you on township time, using township equipment, and coming on social media and hassling me. Many times I said to her, I get it, you don't agree with us, see ya, goodbye, you don't need to talk, and back she comes every time. So, what are you gonna do about, what is so funny about that? Why are you laughing about it?
Not laughing.
You were too, and you're making faces at me again. But this is our township supervisor, this is what he likes to do. And by the way, why the letter from the lawyer? Why'd you have, does the whole board know that he had the lawyer send me a letter? You guys gave me the stuff on the website where it is, but the lawyer has to follow up after I told you I'm done with the FOIA, I'm taking it higher because you won't answer me. But the lawyer sends me the same information that's out there for everyone. Little intimidation you're using again?
It's just harassment.
Absolute harassment. And I do not appreciate this man's campaigning for you when he also is an official. He's not supposed to be doing that.
Are you guys up for election?
Oh, you didn't know?
Anyone else? All right, being no more comments,
Any more comments?
entertain the motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
It's been motioned and supported to adjourn our meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for coming.